Hey guys, welcome back to Carsoni Means. Today we're going to be talking about the upcoming game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Washington football team. It is going to be coming on Sunday at 1 o'clock on Fox or CBS. I don't know. I'm not going to be able to watch it, but I'm sure it'll be a great game. Or not. The Ravens are, as of right now, which is Wednesday, the day this is coming out, the Ravens are supposed to win by 13 points, which I could see happening 100%. I could definitely see it being closer than that. Washington has shown flashes, which we will talk about throughout this video. But also, the Ravens, we've seen them completely take down teams by 3 scores. That are way better than Washington is right now. And we're also going to talk about, what this game could potentially mean for Washington and the Ravens after this. So we're going to go through, we're going to look at some stats here, and we're going to talk about what I think. So looking at the passing game, Dwayne Haskins, he only has 625 yards, which I'm going to give it to him, is more than Lamar Jackson has right now, but he's only thrown 4 touchdowns to Lamar Jackson's 5, and he's thrown 3 interceptions, all of which came in last week's game against the Browns. Haskins has been looking pretty bad. He's shown some flashes toward the end of last year, which I took to mean that he was going to be pretty good this season, and it hasn't looked that way. I mean, he looked pretty good in week 1, he looked meh in week 2, and now coming into week 3, this is at his worst. If he continues this trend, even though, yes, the Ravens have a really big defense, if he's going to be our starting quarterback for years to come, he's going to have to show that he can play well whenever he's the underdog, when he's supposed to lose, whenever he's playing against such a great defense. So if he plays another terrible game, worse or even at the same level as he played last week, if he comes out of this week with 5 touchdowns and 5 interceptions even, and only like 750 yards at the end of this game, not in the game, but like total, then definitely I think that they're going to have to seriously start looking into Alex Smith. Kyle Allen, I'm pretty sure Alex Smith is their backup, might be Kyle Allen, I don't know. In my opinion, I think Alex Smith is better than Kyle Allen, or he was at least. I don't know what the injury did to him, but I mean, he seems to be pretty well. He made their roster. Rushing, Lamar Jackson is also the Ravens' biggest rusher. He's got more yards than Antonio Gibson, who is actually a running back for Washington. So right now, I mean, Antonio Gibson, we're still waiting for him to break out, but people, I mean, we keep on waiting, and if he doesn't break out, this could be pretty bad, because right now they don't have too much of a running game, and they're giving it to McKissick. He seems pretty good. I mean, and Gibson, he does have 140 yards and 2 touchdowns, but we're kind of relying on Dwayne Haskins, who in 3 games has already thrown the ball 101 times, and that just isn't good at all, especially when you have a still developing, basically rookie quarterback who it really isn't showing up very much. Of course, with the receiving unit, Terry McLaurin is looking pretty good. He would have had a couple touchdowns last week, but a lot of them he was wide open, and Dwayne Haskins just overthrew him. And the defense though is where Washington is really competitive, because they have one of the best defensive lines, or they did before they got a hit. What is his name? Matt Ioannidis, I think, and Chase Young, I know, got injured last week early in the game against the Cleveland Browns. Now, their defense, their defensive line did show some promise, especially in the third quarter. They held them. They won the third quarter 20-0. A lot in part to their defense, getting them some like really good field position. I think once they got them like at the 45 of the Browns. But one thing that was missing last week are the turnovers. They've been getting turnovers a lot. I mean, in the first game we saw, they had a couple interceptions against the Eagles and a forced fumble, and then even against the Cardinals, when they got beat pretty badly, they did manage to pick off Kyler Murray in the red zone. Of course, they fumbled that a chance away for any points. And then last week they didn't score at all. They didn't get any interceptions, any fumbles. So really, the only way Washington can win is if that defense really steps it up and they start, getting to the quarterback, making Lamar move around, which he is really good at. Like I said, he is their leading rusher. If they start, trying to sack him, if they manage to sack Lamar Jackson a lot, that could really throw him off his grind. If they manage to, get out there, they get some good coverage out there. Actually, with Kendall Fuller in there, they should be playing better. They didn't look too good last week, but who knows? Really the only way that they can win is if Dwayne Haskins steps it up. I mean, if the Ravens play anything like they did on Monday Night Football last week, it will be a very close game in my opinion. I think, well, not a close game, but they could keep it competitive. And if Dwayne Haskins stops staring on, receivers, he takes last week where he, messed up and he changes things. He stops staring down receivers, which is all anyone wants to talk about. And he does it. He stops throwing interceptions. And the defense starts getting turnovers. They start putting pressure on the quarterback, which they are pretty good at. This could be a game that maybe Washington could win, but unfortunately, Lamar Jackson, he's 0-3 against the Chiefs, but against any other team, he's only lost once. He is a beast. He might have the best team in the league right now around him. And, it'd have to be something special for the Ravens to lose. But if they do, if Washington gets this win, they will be 2-2, and they will be on top of the NFC East no matter what. Now, if they lose and the Cowboys lose to the Browns, which is very, very possible. The Browns, in my opinion, might be even better than the Cowboys are at this point, but probably not. They could end up being at the top of their division in 1-3, and then next week they're going up against a really, really competitive Rams team. So right now, and then after that they have a pretty easy season though. And so that's really all I have to say. In my opinion, I think the Ravens will kind of blow it out of the water here, maybe even a 14-15 point win, something along those lines. I mean, we've seen how bad they played against the Cardinals, and in my opinion, the Ravens are kind of that same type of team. They have a really tough defense. They have a quarterback who can make some throws and is also really mobile. They have a pretty good offensive line, and in my opinion, I feel like this is really just a buffed up version of the Cardinals, who they had a tough time with, and this could either be a bad thing because we saw how bad they played against the Cardinals and how tough of a matchup that was, or it could be a good thing because they've already faced a team like the Ravens and they can, look at that and they know how to beat a team like that, even though they lost. So really, I'm going to say that I'm almost, 100% sure that the Ravens are going to win, which, taking it from a diehard Washington fan, it's pretty serious. Though I can see them winning. We've seen flashes even in their huge losses. They have had good drives, especially towards the end of the game. I mean, we saw against the Cardinals, they managed to score 12 points in the fourth quarter. We saw, like I said, against the Browns, they managed to score 20 points in the third, not 20 points. No, not 13 points in the third quarter. No, they didn't score 20 points. I think I said that once before in the video. So the game is probably going to be pretty bad at halftime, but what's probably going to happen is they're going to be down like 30-0, and they're going to come back to make it like 37-20. I don't know. But if they play bad against the Ravens and the Rams, they probably will. I would be expecting Alex Smith to be in there in the next 5 to 6 weeks, and I think that if they're like 4-7, maybe Alex Smith could do something. I don't know, but right now they do. Let me just say one thing. I know I've been saying a lot and like dragging it on. After the Rams game, other than like the Cowboys, who they probably could easily beat, not easily, but they probably could beat, they don't have a single game that really I feel like is a hard game. Against Cowboys, they're probably going to go 1-1, might lose them both. But any other team, they don't really have a hard team they're playing against. I'm sure they're going to lose some, they're going to win some, but they're probably going to end up being 1-4, and then they're probably going to end the season at like 8-8. So as a Washington fan, I'd be happy with 6-10. I was thinking that before the season. After week 1, I was thinking 9-7. Nah. All right. Thank you guys all so much for watching. We do this kind of stuff every single week. We do predictions. Speaking of that, you already know who I think is going to win, the Ravens. If you want to see the score predictions and the score prediction for every single other game, that is going to be coming out tomorrow before the Thursday night game, so go ahead and subscribe if you don't want to miss that. We also do power rankings weekly. We also do recaps of, just the whole week. We do Thursday night recaps, Monday night recaps every day. Not every day, but every time that gets past there. And as a Washington fan, I sit down and I have a really biased reaction to the Washington game, and then I go and I do a recap where I'm more rational about it. I try to make these videos where it's a preview more realistic, and I hope I did. I might have sounded a bit hopeful talking about how they could win when they probably have no chance. And also in my description you'll find links to my Twitter and Instagram. I'd be very happy if you follow me there, and I hope to see you in the next one. In fact, I know I will, or else.